You know these sponsorship segments in video?
This episode is brought to you by
Squarespace.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace.
This week's video is brought to you by
Squarespace.
Yeah, they kind of suck. This is when most of the audience clicks off the videos, which causes a dip in viewer attention, which signals to YouTube that the video isn't good. But Airrack needs sponsors because his videos aren't cheap.
I rented out like a 747 and I put all my friends on it, and that was like $90,000 to do that.
So how does he do it? In this clip, Airrack is in the middle of a prank where his Tesla's autopilot has a mind of its own. Instead of cutting to another scene to do a sponsorship like most YouTubers,
Yo, if you have Uncle Dave, watch out.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Well, luckily today's episode is sponsored by Vessi.
Airrack weaves the sponsorship into the video to the point where if the audience clicks off, they lose bits of the story. I mean, he literally does a split screen, so the audience is forced to watch it. And everybody wins here. The brand gets more eyeballs, the viewer retention curve didn't go down, and the audience didn't have to fast forward. This thumbnail says levitation prank, but if you watch the video, there are actually 5 pranks. In fact, the levitation prank isn't even the main prank. The main prank is this much better tag prank. So why is this the thumbnail and not something like this? Well, that's because Airrack wants to over deliver. Picture this, you click on the video expecting to watch one prank and then you see this intro. And that dopamine hit that you just got keeps you watching the video and you forget to click off. Okay, that dopamine hit keeps you watching the video for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but then your mind starts to wander again. Airrack wants to get you back into the video, so what does he do?
I know my first illusion was pretty great, but I warn you, if you're not prepared for the best magic you've ever seen, you might want to stop watching this video.
He gives you another intro showing you that he has 3 more pranks. And although this isn't a strategy used by a lot of YouTubers, it's a strategy used by traditional TV for a really long time. They would put a hook right before an ad break to make sure you came back to watch the show. And Airrack is doing the same thing. This video wasn't exactly an original idea Airrack had.
I'm trying to become YouTube's greatest magician, and every single one of these illusions was inspired by my favorite old YouTube videos. My goal is to see if these illusions still hold up.
And this video was inspired by this one that he did at the beginning of the year, and this video was inspired by a video done by another creator. You see, you can either come up with a super original idea that may or may not go viral, or you can take a page out of the smartest people in Silicon Valley and just copy something that's already good. Zuckerberg did that with Threads, Google copied AltaVista, and Instagram Stories is basically a copy of Snapchat. So it's simple. You find something that's working, and then you do the same thing in a much better way. But there's a fine line between finding inspiration from someone's work and ripping them off. The reason no one calls Airrack a rip-off artist is because he does these 2 things.
Anyway, I was scrolling on YouTube a couple weeks ago and I found some of my favorite old videos. I decided to recreate these videos over a decade later and see if they still hold up, and I'm gonna take them up like 10 notches.
He lets his audience know who inspired him and gives them credits. And then he crafts a video with such skill that it surpasses the original video to the point where his audience just can't get mad. Okay, this is my favorite part of it.
I've talked to the guy who runs the algorithm at YouTube, and it's no longer about retention. It's no longer about CTR as much as it is about viewer satisfaction.
About a couple years ago, YouTube was a retention rate. That meant that if you kept your audience retention curve over 70%, the video was sure to blow up. But now it's all about satisfaction. I mean, engineering retention is easy. You make quick cuts, you speak loudly to the camera, you blow things up, but how do you engineer satisfaction?
Now, if you've been with me for the past year, then you know that on my 8th birthday, I threw a pizza party for all my friends, and not one person showed up. But last year, I promised you guys that if we hit 10 million subscribers before the end of the year, that I would throw a new pizza party with you guys, my new friends.
In his I made the world's largest pizza video, Airrack gave his video a purpose. Sure, a 132-foot pizza is cool, but he tied it to his own personal story. And towards the end of the video, when he made the world's largest pizza, he said this.
Really, what I wanted to say, and I'm gonna be real with you guys here for a second, was that getting to share this experience with all of you was incredibly moving. Seeing all of you here with me eating pizza made all of the sadness that 8-year-old Eric felt that day just completely disappear. And it was really something special.
Watching this video makes you feel emotionally satisfied. It's not just some YouTuber blowing tons of money for clicks anymore. It's more than that. And so let's say if you're a cooking YouTuber, you could weave your own story into your videos. Talk about how you were bullied as a kid and you hated life, but everything would change when you would come back home and your mom would make you that dish. By doing this, your videos have purpose. And when your audience leaves, they leave satisfied. Okay, quick question. Which color pops off the most in these 9 thumbnails? Okay, and what about these? And these? The reason Airrack uses red is the same reason fire trucks and stop signs. Red draws attention and helps stand out from a busy background. And Airrack uses this same strategy to make his thumbnail stand out in your homepage. Airrack wants his videos to look urgent, like breaking news in his feed. But it's not just about vanity metrics though. Eric relentlessly A/B tests his thumbnails, and given that he has red in most of his thumbnails, this obviously works. That's why although Eric wears a white t-shirt throughout this video, in his thumbnail he's wearing red.